Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
So I'm going to introduce you to a wild woman. No, I'm kidding. She's not really wild. She's wildly wonderful. And she's calling in from L.A. She and I have known each other for many, many, many years, and she is an extraordinary woman. But she's an entrepreneur, and it's hard to be an entrepreneur. But Jacqui BRANDWYNNE has been one. And so how do you feel? Are you exhausted yet?
Not really. I have plenty of energy left. And hello, everybody.
And you will recognize Jacqui BRANDWYNNE from the column that she writes every month. And you will see that in BOOMERTIMES. And it's actually turned into a column about love and live a good life and good health, and you do bring in a lot of experts to help. And I know that you write for a lot of other newspapers all over the country. And is this something you ever thought you'd be doing?
Well, I started out life as a writer, and because I was a journalist and reported from the United Nations. But I didn't think I would venture into this particular area of intimacy and relationship. But I'm delighted that I have, and along with the writing, we created products that are helpful for women and definitely empower women in many different ways.
And the name, of course, is everything she does is very private. And that's really what people, especially women, want. They want to have answers, but they want it to be private because, well, when she first started, actually, it was more important. Now, people are a lot more open, don't you think?
Absolutely. But the idea for very private is really this. Women have always had millions of responsibilities, bringing up children, pleasing their husbands, having a boss that is demanding. And women have come through in all in different ways from the beginning, from when they start a marriage. And at the time they reach their 40s, finally, guess what's happening? The kids are out of the house. The husband is used to taking care of himself. The boss, maybe they're even retired. The boss they're also less demanding. And suddenly they have time for themselves. And many women that I've talked to, literally hundreds of women, have told me, I finally say my time. It's my private time. I want to be who I want to be. I want to explore some new things. I want to try new products. I want to learn some things. This is me. I have less responsibility, but now I have a responsibility to myself. And that is what Very Private is all about, to help women feel empowered, to give them a better life, to solve some problems that come with maturing. And so we created both products and a column to really help empower women and make them feel great about themselves, about their bodies, about their relationship. There is a way to improve life, even if you're 40, 50, 60, or 70. Absolutely. There is no reason of feeling humdrum about aging.
And that's perfectly said, because I want to tell you something. I went to a women's conference on, I guess it was Monday, and when you walked in, the song was, I Am Woman, Hear Me Shout. Remember the Helen Reddy song?
Absolutely.
And those women were very powerful, and so many of them held very high positions, and yet, Jacqui, I will tell you that a lot of the things that you discuss, no matter how powerful they are, they have no idea about. They're suffering with things. They don't share that because that's very private, as you said.
Absolutely. Let me explain to you a little bit something. Your body, everything from your bones to your brains to your emotions to your reproductive cycle to your cycle of maturing is affected deeply and unequivocally by your female hormone estrogen. estrogen has a part in everything you experience, you feel, how your body changes. And we start out by, when we start menstruating, we have 2 million eggs in our ovaries. And these little eggs produce estrogen. That's like the factory that produces the hormone estrogen. By the time we are in our late 30s, we only have a few thousand left. So obviously, with lower estrogen, we also have lower moisture because estrogen controls the moisture in your body, in your skin, in your eyes, in your mouth, in your hair, and most importantly, in your vaginal area, in your intimate area. Now, once you have less moisture in the intimate area, it is not as comfortable to have intimacy. In fact, it may hurt, and many women have withdrawn not knowing what to do about it. So we created our lead product and got it through the FDA. That means that it is safe and effective because you don't get FDA approval otherwise. And that product, when you just use a little bit before intimacy and during intimacy, it facilitates everything. It immediately takes care of vaginal dryness. And you may enjoy intimacy again, not only enjoy it again, but actually enjoy it more than you ever have in your life.
And I'm going to just pipe in here because Jacqui, of course, is the founder and the inventor and the creator of this. She has other products, and she'll discuss them with you in just a moment. But I met Jacqui through a column that I wrote in the Palm Beach Post, and I suffered with a problem and didn't know who to talk to. I didn't even discuss it with my gynecologist because I always thought it was my problem. I didn't think this was a general problem of women as they were aging. And I was so happy to see the response once to a column. And that's probably 25, 30 years ago. It's a long time. And the products that Jacqui has developed has really saved me from, I can't even tell you how much pain or how much suffering or how much neglect I would have been giving my husband had I not had them. And so I'm always very anxious to have Jacqui talk about these products and to appreciate her. I don't know other people if they felt the other way, but we know they did, but I didn't know any. And of course, the fact now that her business has been going for so long, other people must really be enjoying it and being saved. So it's something so simple, Jacqui, in a sense. But of course, now there are other companies that have come on board and they're doing things similar, not of the same quality, in my opinion, anyway. But before that, it was just use some sort of a lubricant, whatever it did, right?
Yes. Well, let me make you aware of something that many, many women have no idea. When you look around in the drugstore, you see lots and lots of lubricants. But you don't see many, in fact, hardly any, that on the bottle or on the carton say FDA approved. Now, here's the difference. The other lubricants that don't have that are cosmetics. They are classified by our government, by the FDA, as simple cosmetics. And they are not, and I repeat, not allowed to be used in the vaginal canal. In other words, you cannot put them and use them intravaginally. And that's where we need them when you have intercourse, when you have sexuality. You don't need them anywhere else. So these companies who make these lubricants try to cheat you. They tell you, don't use internally, use externally only, or they say, use as a cosmetic only. Well, you have no idea that these lubricants are completely different from an intimate vaginal moisturizer that is FDA approved. And the FDA calls those products that are approved medical devices because they have to be tested for many, many years. Each ingredient, for example, in an FDA-approved product each ingredient has to have a 10-year safety record. In a cosmetic lubricant, they don't have to have that. They use chocolate flavors, they use raspberry flavors, they use all kinds of chemical and unwarranted ingredients that in fact can hurt you. But they don't tell you you cannot use it internally. And if you don't use it internally, it won't work. When you have vaginal dryness, that means your tissue is dry and your tissue is thinner. And that's true for all women in the world. It's a natural phenomenon of change. Then you do need some moisture. You need some moisture to start intimacy, and you need additional moisture in the vaginal canal to protect the very delicate tissue. And because it is dry, it doesn't give you the glide you need, and it's painful, and some women absolutely withdraw from intimacy, but it's easily cured with just a few drops in the vaginal canal. These drops protect the tissue, and you can enjoy intimacy as long as you want and as often as you want, and really enjoy it and not worry about it.
So, Jacqui, why did you invent this? How did you do that?
Well, what we did is we did 2 years of research with gynecologists and urologists, and then began to see that where the culprit was. The culprit of vaginal dryness and pain during intimacy is not that people do anything wrong. It's simply that women lack moisture when they get to be 40s, 45, or 50. And therefore, without enough moisture, because there's not enough estrogen, and estrogen controls moisture, that's the culprit. So, but it is easily cured. But it should not be cured by a regular lubricant, because regular lubricants are not safe. And in fact, if the government finds that regular lubricants advocate intravaginal use, that product is going to get banned and off the shelf. So nobody has really educated women to that. But if it doesn't say FDA approved on the bottle or on the carton, stay away from it. It is not for intravaginal use, and it could hurt you if you use it that way.
Thank you. That's great to hear that, people. I hope you're listening to that, and I want to just go over this again. The way that you can get more information, you really should be reading Boomer Times and seeing Jacqui's column called It's Very Private, but it's always filled with different kinds of information that will be very helpful to you on love and sex and travel and other kinds of things that have to make a woman stronger and not make as many mistakes as some do. But Jacqui, it's veryprivate.com. That you can look that up on the web, and you'll be very happy to see that. So
we are very happy. Any personal problems that you have, and you write us a letter and our email is on our website, www.veryprivate.com. We will answer you and help you. And nobody will know anything about it because we are very private.
Right.
Now, the other thing I want to make you aware is why it is important to take care of your intimate area with particular products. Do not use in your intimate area any products with coloring, any products with perfumes or fragrances, or any products that chemically alter the appearance of the product or the thickness of the product. Any ingredients that you that says it's extraneous, it's not needed. Why is that so? The vaginal environment, the intimate environment of every woman and man in the world has a particular pH. That is, it is changing. In young women, it is acidic, and as we change and get into our 40s or 50s, it's alkaline. In an alkaline environment, that is, the pH is alkaline, it is much easier to get infection. So as we age, we are more prone to vaginal infection. Now, why is that? Every human being in the world has certain amount of bacteria and fungus in the intimate area because they like it there. It's dark and moist. Now, this is okay, but when you fool with that environment, when you introduce chemical coloring or perfumes or strong ingredients that shouldn't be there, then they can interfere with the natural environment, and all of a sudden the bacteria can grow exponentially or the fungus can grow exponentially, and that leads to infection. So the most important thing, absolutely important, is to treat, to wash with a neutral body wash or soap. That means a pH-balanced product. And the pH balance of the product has to be similar and is similar to your vaginal environment so that you don't disturb that, so that you don't disturb the equilibrium. So our body wash, which is pH balanced, actually reduces the load of bacteria and fungus so that the probability of infections is lower. And the moment you wash with it once, you can see a difference. Your skin, once you rinse off, actually feels quite silky. Anita, you've been a user of the product. What do you think about body wash?
The body wash, I have to use the body wash because if I use any soap, it is very, very bad for me. I mean, I definitely go a little crazy. So I have to use your body wash, and I don't try anything else. In fact, I remember before I talked with you and knew you, I would take hot baths, and I would use, of course, all those wonderful bath salts that are on the market, and you told me, don't do that. Don't ever do that. So I never do. I just take the candles, and I put them on my little counter. So when I'm taking it, it smells beautifully. But I don't do that. I keep myself as pure and clean as you've just described.
Well, because that's how you protect yourself. Look, if something foams like crazy, a product foams like crazy, you know what that is? Those are detergents. And if a product paints your tub water green or blue or pink or red, you know what that is? Those are chemical colors that will intervene with the natural, normal vaginal pH and environment. And when you intervene and destroy it, that's what causes problems. So just buy a pH-balanced product. There are other pH-balanced soaps and body washes other than ours, but ours we know is very, very pure. And I travel with it. I wouldn't go anywhere with it without it because I know the moment I start using products from hotels or so, I get infections. So we want to make women safe. We want for women to know that they are well taken care of. That is our aim in life with our products, that the products help them, they eradicate problems, and so the woman can feel secure and confident and empowered. And that is always been my intent.
Yes, and you've done a great job with that. I must say, you've been out there. It's been a lonely road because not everyone understood this, and now a lot of other people have caught on, but it's never been the quality that you insist on. And so I think your advice is very well taken. I will also tell you that you have brought on some very interesting specialists, experts to the columns that you've been writing for us. And I know that you have special interests in cancer and other kinds of medical properties and what you're doing. Where did you get all this interest, Jacqui?
Well, I've always been interested in science because I've always been interested in helping people. And so as I started in the cosmetic side of the business, I became more and more interested how the body works and what we can do to help women. And obviously, I'm a woman. Most of my employees are women. So we have an orientation that way. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to learn about the science. Yes, and it is true, Anita, I have, with a partner, developed a company and an anti-cancer vaccine, which has just finished phase 2 in the FDA. But much of the science that I learned in the biotech area, I can apply in my area for very private. This is how I learned so much about hormones and what they do. This is how I learned that the function of the estrogen hormone is so pervasive and so extraordinarily important in a woman's body, but we need to understand it. And the changes that women go through from teenager where they start menstruating to pregnancy, where the hormones are at the highest level in a woman's life, to the day that they give birth and hormones collapse completely, and that's when vaginal dryness happens, to the time where they are premenopausal, where they start spotting irregularly, where periods become further apart, where they start to have some night sweats, some lack of sleep. All these symptoms are based on hormones. And we, understanding these hormonal changes, that is why we create products that answer the new needs of women. This is how it came about.
So isn't it strange that gynecologists don't have these conversations with you?
Well, because look, on the average, the research says that doctor can only spend 10 minutes with a patient, otherwise they're losing money. So, and doctors spend very little time with the women. So if they had to explain how all of this works, how the vaginal tissue becomes drier, which is natural, how the vaginal environment, the intimate environment, has, certain problems if you introduce unwanted ingredients, then they would have to spend 20, 30, 40 minutes, which they're not willing to do, and they can't do. So who answers all this need? That's why there is so little understanding on the part of women about the intimate area. They don't know enough about it. Many women can't even say vagina. They say down there.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Most women, many women have no clue what down there looks like. They have no idea and what it looks like, and they have no idea that the intimate area should get as much attention as your face. In fact, the intimate area needs moisture more than your face. And for comfort, I, for example, use a little bit of vaginal moisture, of the intimate moisture, every day before I exercise, because otherwise I feel more raw. And it helps me enormously because it keeps that area well moisturized.
That's a good point.
Comfortable.
Yeah, that's very, very good point. And I know that I have used it when I feel like maybe I'm getting a little itchy or something. It's so refreshing. It's so nice, and it has no odor, and it doesn't ruin your clothing. I mean, you've really worked hard to perfect this. I have to congratulate you, Jacqui. You should be very proud of it.
And I can tell you this, that with two huge companies, very, very large companies, in the billions of dollars, two of them have contacted us, and they said they would like to include our product in their line of products. But they give us only a small fee, and obviously they want to learn our formula, and then they bounce us, so we didn't give it to them. But the very fact that they contacted us was quite interesting, and I asked them, why do you want to buy our product, the very private intimate moisture? Why come to us? We are a tiny company. And both of them told us, we done the research, and your product comes up as the most efficacious and the safest. So, you know, that was an enormous compliment.
Of course. No, it really is. And hopefully, and the packaging is very simple. It's very nice. It's very easy to use. You don't have to unscrew a cap. It's really quite well done, and I have told Jacqui on many occasions that I will tell anybody she needs me to tell about this because, as you've said, as a matter of fact, it's also nice for men. We never even get into that, It's very nice for men.
We did a test with 75 couples, and they had never used an intimate moisturizer. And then they used our product, and 72 of them said they would never make love afterwards without it. It was such a good experience.
Right.
And I'd like to address something to you women. Look, many of you have no sexual partners, and that's okay. But there is no reason in the world that you shouldn't be involved in some sexuality and give yourself some pleasure. In fact, all the research, every single study shows that it is healthier to keep sexually aroused than to just cut it off completely. And being sexually aroused is quite simple. You use a little of the intimate moisture and your fingers, or you can use a sexual toy, which many people do. But it is important that you keep sexually alive, that you don't just shut off, even if you don't have a partner. And also, we have found the experience that women who have had cancer, and I'm one of them, during that very tragic and stressful time, obviously, you're not in the mood for sexual adventure. But once you have overcome the situation, we developed a actual way to re-engage in sexuality. And any one of you who would like to get our website, our directions, can write to us, because the directions were actually printed and published on the National Cancer site.
That's great, Jacqui. Could they write to could they go on veryprivate.org? Oh, excuse me, veryprivate.
They just write to go to our website and write me an email, and you can get it. I can give it to you.
That was great. We've never done that before, and I'm glad. And we've just run out of time, Jacqui. But I am so happy that you mentioned that. That's very important. Maybe you can write about that in one of your columns.
I'd be happy to write about it. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for.
Because many women share and are worried to come back to sexuality.
I'm sure. And so, calling in from L.A., Jacqui Brandwynne has been a marvelous guest. Thank you, Jacqui. I always appreciate you, and just keep making that great stuff. I don't know what I'd do without it.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you, Jacqui.
Also, thank you for being my friend.
Yes, same for me.
We've had a long relationship that I deeply value.
Yes, I feel the same way, Jacqui. Thank you again.